Everyone to a special once a month philosophical chat. This is a special broadcast where I literally discuss anything whatsoever beyond history, food, travel, and culture. You can literally ask me anything. The reason I do these is because in order for all of us to get to know each other a little bit better, but this is only once a month. So if you're watching this for the first time, Urbanist is all about history in the travel context. But today, once a month, we do these special philosophical chats where we talk about literally anything at all. Now, I cover a lot of spirituality, metaphysics, personal development on my own Instagram at the Ariel Vieira on Instagram, and you can read those writings if you want to. And also, I am a published author. I have written so far one sci-fi novella called Retrowave, if you want to read about that as well. So that maybe will bring a little bit of attention to those aspects of my own life, because I'm not just into history, food, and travel. That's the show Urbanist. But obviously Urbanist is not Ariel Vieira. It's not my own vlog. But I do these just so you can get to know me for once a month. And also we can all get to know each other. So feel free to ask me literally anything you would like. Almost everything is on the table, except only two things that I don't want to discuss is politics. That is strongly against talking about that because it ends up getting a little bit hairy. And then the second thing is current news. But everything else, you can literally ask me anything. So how am I doing? Welcome everyone, nice to see you here. Now, I am in a beautiful location. I'll show it to you, a brief glimpse. At the end of the video, I'll be telling everyone exactly where I'm at. But it's I found a very beautiful area to take cover under the rain here in New York City. It might be noisy due to construction. But I'll show you very quickly. But if you know where I am, please keep it to yourself. At the end of the video, I will tell you exactly where I am so you can check it out yourself. So I'm undercover, luckily, and lots of construction. All right, cool, awesome. So hello, Kay. Hello, everyone. I'm drinking a nice spiked cider. So perfect drink to have a nice philosophical chat. If you know where I am, keep it to yourself. I will tell everyone where I'm at the end of the video. Hello from a wet, cold, and windy kill. Kenny says, Kay, oh, it's cold, wet, and windy. Oh, I hope it ends up getting a lot better weather. Well, we are in for the winter time. Do you plan on doing another collab with New York Walking Show? LOL, hi. I would love to. He's a really awesome guy. I absolutely loved collaborating with Sifat. He's a very intriguing person. He is really inspiring to see someone so young, and he's significantly younger than me, go all into video. It's really inspirational. So I'm glad to meet someone like Sifa. I can't wait to collaborate with him more. I think we have very good kind of vibe together, good on-screen chemistry. So yeah, I think you'll see more shows with me and New York City Walking Show. His name is Sifa, which I think it's already public. I don't know where you are. Yes, I'll let everyone know where I'm at the end. No walking today, just chatting. This is only once a month. I usually stick to history, food, and culture, but today we're talking about literally anything. Hope you had a great weekend. Sometimes I gotta choose better backgrounds because sometimes certain backgrounds are terrible for reading comments. Really, hello, Michelle, nice to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. Trip Hacks, I hope all is well. I'm so glad you're jumping on live video. That's really awesome. Good afternoon, Manny, nice to see you here. Good afternoon, Krista. Throw a fun fact about yourself, says Oliver. Oliver, I am actually related due to, according to my grandfather's family tree passed down after a few generations, I'm related to one of the most famous pirates of the Hispanic Caribbean countries. His name is Roberto Cofresi. He has a statue of him in the corner of Puerto Rico called Cabo Rojo. And he also has a town named after him in República Dominicana, which is Dominican Republic. I am directly related to him. He didn't have offspring, so I'm related to his sister, or directly related to his sister. And he was shot by firing squad for stealing from the Spaniards and from the British. And also, I think, from the Dutch. Jesper, what do New York City do for you in your life, and where do you see yourself in? Do you see yourself in another city? I see myself in London. Is the number one city I see myself outside of New York. So 100% aim to do London. London, I see myself living for quite a while. I mentioned that I'm not the only filmmaker who fell in love with London that's from New York. Let me know, what other filmmaker, he's very famous, he's actually a very favorite of mine. What other filmmaker is from New York and fell in love with London and then moved to London? But unlike this filmmaker, I am not afraid of airplanes. So I don't foresee myself living in London forever. Just want to live there for quite a while. Let me know, what filmmaker am I talking about? Sorry, what's your timeline for moving to London? I have no idea, Shields. I am not the type of person who plans, to be honest. Obviously, I make a show. I plan, I research my videos. Sometimes if I book a trip, I usually book it about like a month in advance. But I'm not a person really to plan. Never have been the planner, never have been someone to make a timeline of things I want to do. So that's why I have no idea when I'm going to London. Can't provide you a timeline. So Jonathan actually knew exactly what I'm talking about. Jonathan got it right. Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, Stanley Kubrick is the other New Yorker. Started as a photographer here in New York City. Took amazing photographs. Check out Stanley Kubrick's photos when he was very young, before he became a world-renowned movie director. And he fell in love with London and moved over there. What is your job? My job is this. I make videos. I make these type of videos on Urbanist, and on Urbanist, I make money from these videos. This is a service I provide to people. This is an art form, a piece of entertainment. So I have ads on these videos. Sometimes I have sponsors, and I have patrons and supporters directly from you guys. And then beyond that, I make videos similar to this one for other companies, conferences, or brands. And also I make 360 videos, performing arts videos like dance videos and music videos. And I also cover conferences and make corporate videos. So I'm an all-around filmmaker and storyteller, basically. Just to make it simple. I can make a video that is from idea all the way to distributing the video on social media. That is my job. I can do everything between that. That includes shooting, directing, hosting on camera, writing the script, and editing. Have I stayed at New York Lotte Palace? I never stayed in the hotel in New York. Great question, New Jersey Walks. I never stayed in the New York City hotel. I just never had the chance to. I never had really the need to do so. So I never stayed in a New York hotel. Though I have visited friends who have been in hotels, and I went to the Ace Hotel. I must say, that was a gorgeous room. Also for TV, says Jesper. I don't work for TV yet. I haven't worked with any type of television station nor broadcast, nor streaming service yet. But my intention is to work at some point with a streaming broadcast service. What's your favorite taco? Al pastor. Al pastor is shredded pork with marinated in pineapple. Very good. On a skewer. So very similar to shawarma. But not in taste, because they use pineapple. Would love to stay at the Lotte. It is expensive, yeah. Yeah, it is very expensive. You're in prime real estate. If you're staying at the Lotte New York Palace, you're like right in the middle where all the action is. Hello, Sylvia. Nice to see you here. How do you feel when you must decide something under pressure, says Elisa. Elisa, great question. I am a person who, if I have a specific time limit and there is pressure and I have to make a decision, I make a decision. And many of my friends know me for this. Like, I am very determined, I just make a decision. I don't like lingering around, I don't like kind of flip-flopping. It's not my style. I always make a decision. I might not plan, I might not make a timeline, I don't have action steps and goals in my life. I'm not like many entrepreneurs, which I know personally here in New York City. I'm not that type of person, but when making decisions, I just make them. Let me know what type of style you guys are. Have you ever explored the Hudson Valley? I've done 2 places in the Hudson Valley. I did the Storm King Art Center, really great video I did. You can check it out. It's on YouTube and Facebook. And I also did Sleepy Hollow, also on YouTube and Facebook. What's my most memorable live stream? Asked Shields. That's a good question. Most memorable live stream. You know what? People ask me this often, and I answer it differently most times, because when it comes to a question like that, I think it's better to answer it at the moment on hand, the moment right now, like what comes to me as the best live stream I've ever had, I would say that's a good question. I would say the Puerto Rican Day Parade was mind-blowing. If you've been following me on Facebook, you know that the Puerto Rican Day Parade is my most viewed live stream ever. I had more than 257,000 people tune into my live stream of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And that was live. It ended up moving up to 400,000 plus people watching in the replay. Why was this special to me? Well, it was because I went into doing that live stream for the parade. This was 2018, I think. 2018. I went into making this video thinking it's not going to be that watched. I didn't think that many people would tune in. Also, the video was going to be pretty personal, and I was going to talk about the history of a niche subject. That niche subject was salsa, which I love. Salsa. Salsa is like kind of what most people just know generally is Spanish music or Latin music in America. Salsa is a big band with the timbales and the congas and the trumpets. That's salsa. I was going to cover the history of salsa, which is based in New York City. I was going to cover the history of the parade, and I thought to myself, well, not that many people are going to watch that. And also, usually there's a major broadcaster covering the parade. So, I go into the parade, I get my press pass, I start with the parade, and I find out as I'm walking this parade, this was the year after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, and it was devastating. Devastating to the many people who lost their lives, devastating to the country who lost a lot of money, devastating to the populace who started leaving in droves outside of the country and moving to America. And no news station covered the Puerto Rican Day Parade that year. It was the first year that the news just decided not to outright cover the parade. Kind of crazy, because this is one of the largest parades in America. You have the Halloween parade, you have the Puerto Rican Day Parade. They're probably the top 2 in America. For example, Puerto Rican Day Parade back in like 2012-ish, 2013 had more than 2 million spectators. It's been decreasing a little bit since then, but it's a massive parade and had no news. And I was there, luckily, one of the very few people showing the full parade and actually knowing what the parade is and knowing about Puerto Rican culture, because I myself am Puerto Rican. So I had thousands of people starting to tune in at the same time. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And since it was a very tumultuous year for the country, I started getting a bunch of negative comments. You know, people hating on either the U.S. or the current U.S. president, or hating on Puerto Rico itself for the mismanagement of funding, mismanagement of rescue operations, etc. And it was very close where the comments could have just completely gone negative, and I could have, I wouldn't have had a good time broadcasting it. But I did this. It was thousands of people, so it was impossible to moderate it. Facebook, as many people don't know, doesn't really have moderators. It's not really that easy to do, unlike YouTube. And I just asked people, hey, don't respond to the negative comments. And B, tell me what you love about Puerto Rican culture. Even if you're not from Puerto Rico, what do you love about Puerto Rican culture? And suddenly the comments shifted from very negative, heavy political comments, people trolling, to suddenly all this wonderful positive energy swarming the comments to the point where every other negative comment was drowned out. So I had thousands of people watching. It was impossible to say hello to everyone like I am right now because I'm telling a story. And it still felt like I was there connecting with each and every single viewer. So it was a very unique opportunity. And I really enjoyed it. So that's my favorite live stream. All right, let me see your comments. You're very intelligent. That's one thing I love about your live streams. I learned so much. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you do. Hey, Nessa. Hello, Kenya. Nice to see you here. Hello, Dave from rainy Newcastle. Today's very rainy too, as well. Luckily, I found a nice cover here in this unnamed place. I will tell you the name at the end of the broadcast. Have you, who have you worked with as far as music videos? Local musicians. No one really, if you're not from New York, you probably have not heard of them yet. So very, very small musicians. I think the best band, or at least the band I really enjoy listening to over and over again that I worked with, their name is Petrobot. Search them out, Petrobot. Absolutely love working with them. They're an indie rock, indie dance band. They're very similar to LCD Sound System. Sarah, what's your zodiac sign? Oh, thank you so much for asking again, Sarah. I am a Gemini. Oh, yeah, Gemini. Let me know, what's your signs for everyone watching? I'm a Gemini. Aquemini. Like that, what is it, what's the name of that band? What's the name of the band that does Aquemini? Andre 3000, I forgot the name of the band. Have you expected thunder snow? In general, in New York City, yes, there's been a lot of thunder snow. Not so far this year, but there's been a few instances in recent years where there has been thunder snowstorms, yeah. Outcast, thank you so much for reminding me. Well, you know I'm also a Gemini, so it's K. Oh yeah. Geminis have the ability to understand both point of views. Indeed we do. Indeed we do. I think that's what makes me a good live streamer. I'm able to... The reason as I mentioned in the beginning of this broadcast, I do these philosophical chats, so you can see the other side of me. Just like a Gemini, they're two-sided. I love my history, I love my food, but I also write a lot about spirituality, about metaphysics, about personal development, about general life and love stuff on my Instagram. I've been doing that for 10 years at this point. Before I ever was a live streamer, I wrote a music blog for 6 years on a daily basis on Tumblr, and I had quite a big following for that time. At that time, it was 8,000 plus people, which in 2010 is huge. So that's topics of conversation very close to me. And I think that studying that for 10 plus years has enabled me to become a better live streamer. Because yes, I'm talking about history, and yes, I'm eating food on camera, and yes, I'm walking around, right? But the ability to interact with hundreds of people at the same time, and we have a lot of Capricorns, Shakespeare and Cecilia, the ability to interact with hundreds of people at the same time, or thousands, I think one way of going about it is by having a little bit more emotional intelligence, a little bit more kind of depth of conversation. You can't. I can talk on the kind of the general level of you know, the general tidbits about the city, the facts. But if I go deeper, that I think adds more spice to a show, even if it's just about history, or even if it's just about a food. Is your birth month June? Yes, it is. I'm gonna get high smart in the past, Radu. I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to. Are you saying you're feeling high watching this video? I like your Instagram post, says Islay. Oh, I'm so glad, Islay. That's why we love you, Ariel. You're the best and very kind spirited. Oh, thank you so much, Helen. Always with the sweet words. I love the rose emoji you always put on. When are you walking? Tomorrow, Saturday, 1 p.m. For a person out streaming, says Todd, and video filmmaking, which programs or apps do you recommend? So I think I have Action Kid watching as well. So hello, Action Kid. Hope you're doing well, man. Great question. I edit my videos on Adobe Premiere Pro. But by far, the best device I have for making videos is the iPhone. iPhone, especially this new iPhone where you have the wide angle lens, it's just changed everything. And it really, really has made it amazing to film. So much to the point where I don't even feel like using my other cameras. I bought like a vlogging camera, the Sony ZV-1, and it's wonderful. It has cool stuff, cool features to it. But I'm hard pressed to find that many scenarios where I would not use my iPhone instead. So iPhone is probably one of the best filmmaking devices, photography cameras you ever have. If you see my Instagram, I've been getting a lot of compliments on my Instagram lately. So thank you everyone for the compliments on the Instagram. I just crossed 4,000 followers on Urbanist Instagram. All those photos, 90% of the photos I posted there are with my iPhone and edited on my iPhone. So I edit my photos on Adobe Lightroom, the iPhone version, the app version. So that goes to show that you don't need a special super $1,000 camera to make anything work. You can simply do it with your iPhone. Think about that. How do you feel about delving into some political topics during the live stream? I'm all for not making conversation too political, but certain places and topics are embedded in political context, asked Ben. Great question. So Ben, yes, I do mention politics that are old. There's no set line, but I will mention something political if it's not too heated, if it's not something that people have this visceral opinion to it. If you have this visceral opinion to it, I don't want to cover that. This is not that type of show. This is entertainment, escapism, fun, lightheartedness. Don't really aim to make this a serious show about learning the city. If you want to learn about the ins and outs of the city, then watch. There's so many other amazing channels that cover urbanism on a much more serious note, such as City Beautiful, and not just bikes. City Beautiful, that guy is a professor, or he's in academia. He's in academia. He's not a professor. And not just bikes, he's a professional urban designer. There you'll learn serious urbanist topics. If you all learn serious history, watch another show. You know, there's countless other shows. I love Cynical Historian for serious history, or Dan Snow's History Hit on podcast. There you can learn serious history, but this is a lighthearted show. And while I may sometimes cover dark topics, or I might sometimes cover very serious things, politics tends to be much more felt on an immediate level, and I don't want to talk about that. So it's not my imperative to talk about politics. The only reason I would mention something political, such as some building, I mentioned the Strand, unfortunately, was being landmarked, which was inconvenient for the Strand to run as a business. I'll mention that because not that many people watching have this visceral reaction to it, that, you know, politics is so embedded to how we live our daily lives, how we survive. And and how the world is moving, there's more and more kind of this desperation for certain candidates and for certain political ideas to thrive, because it depends on our very livelihoods, depends on our very ability to survive and eat the next day. And with that type of importance, with that type of weight that politics has on our lives for many people, it's not fun. It doesn't have to be fun. There's a lot of things in life that don't need to be fun, and that's okay. You know, in most academic settings, being lighthearted is not really that appropriate. If you're studying medicine, you gotta take it seriously. If you're making policies that will change the livelihoods of millions of people, you gotta take it seriously. But not everything has to be serious. History doesn't have to be serious. Exploring a city doesn't have to be serious. It can be. There's many other channels who are much more serious, but it doesn't have to be. So that's why I don't talk about politics. I think of it as akin to, I mentioned this analogy many, many times. I think it as akin to going to a bar. Do you go to a bar to get a wound healed? You get this gash on your arm, you were skateboarding. Do you go to the bar and ask for the bartender, hey, can you heal this wound? No, the bartender is there for a drink. You might have a gash or a wound, it might not be that bad, so you go to the bar anyway, put some Band-Aids on your own, and you have a good drink to chill out. I'm the bartender. I'm not the doctor. That's why I don't talk about politics. It's not to ignore, it's just to provide a different space. We all have spaces, just like in real life places. There's bars where you just have a drink. You don't go to a bar generally to have a salad. You don't go to a gym to heal a wound. There's different places. The same thing with YouTube channels. Different places. No worries, Ben. You got it. You enjoy the jovial nature of the streams. I'm so glad you do. Urbanist, hello. Nice to see you here. What do you think of the Zebra Tower on West 41st Street? I haven't seen it yet. Ooh, what's a Zebra Tower? I gotta check it out. Just Kate says, I hate discussing politics. I grew up in Northern Ireland and was always asked about political situation here. Manolito. I love all the questions, everyone. Thank you so much for asking so many awesome questions. I'll try to get to as many as possible. So worst date ever. Do you guys you really want to hear about the worst date I've ever had? Let me know. I gotta get your consent first, all you viewers, if you really want to know the worst date I ever had. Thank you for the intelligent and lighthearted explanation for no politics discussed. My pleasure. My pleasure. And also, I'm not an apolitical person. Just to make that clear, I'm not apolitical. I do have my opinions. I just don't share them on Urbanist. If you want to learn my opinions, go on my Instagram, and I clearly express in many different posts what are my political feelings, and of course they're always changing. So a lot of people they want to learn about the worst date ever. All right, you guys are asking for it. Let me say hello to a few other people. Hello, not today. Hello, Kiki says, clap, clap, very enjoyable that you are the choice for lightheartedness. Thank you, Urbanist. My pleasure. Have you ever applied for a job as an academic? No, I don't like academia. I appreciate it. I do deeply, deeply respect academia. I don't care for it. To work for it, at least. Okay, everyone. The worst day ever. So, many years back, I used to use an online dating platform called OkCupid. And I went on this date with this girl. I'll call her a girl because I was very young at the time. And we were in our early 20s. And she had like tattoos, and she had like a cool haircut. And I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm taking a cool girl. I'm going to go on a date with a very cool girl. So we go on the first date, and it's really fun. We have awesome conversation. We go to a hookah bar in St. Mark's Place. If you've ever been to Khyber Pass, it's probably one of the coolest places to smoke hookah with friends. Maybe not so much now with COVID-19, but before the day of the pandemic, it was fun. So we're having a awesome chat. She seems like a badass person with that cool haircut and the tattoos and everything. And she tells me stories about like hanging out in Union Square and how hardcore she is and hanging out late at night. She used to hang out in the middle of the night in Times Square with a bunch of friends and go to like McDonald's at like 2 a.m. And I was like, wow, hardcore, you're very adventurous. Again, I was very young. So I liked her. So I asked for, we went on a second date. And she was excited, I was excited. We go see a movie. And right before the movie, she tells me more about her adventures. And she says that she's been to St. Mark's Place, and she used to hang out at St. Mark's Place very late at night with a bunch of guys that had like dogs, and they would hang out right in front of Khyber Pass and kind of just shoot the shit. So I thought it was like, oh, cool. You know, she likes hanging out for late nights. Then second dates, we're chatting about that. We see the movie, and as we get out of the movie, she's like sniffing. She's like very nervous during the movie, just like doing the sniffing thing. And I found it weird. I was like, oh, maybe she has allergies. So we get out of the movie, and she's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom as well. I get out, 5 minutes pass, and I'm like waiting. 10 minutes pass, I'm waiting. Where is she? 15 minutes pass, and she comes out with a little like kind of a ball of aluminum, and she like puts it in her pocket. I'm like, oh wow, does she have that bad of an allergy? Again, I was very young, so I didn't fully know. So I was like, oh wow, she has like very bad allergies. And she was like, all right, I'm good, I'm ready, let's go. I'm ready. I'm like, oh wow, maybe this is gonna be a fun date. So we just continue walking around for a little bit. She's like super energetic. I have no idea why. It was like, oh wow, she went from having allergies to being very energetic. I thought allergy medicine gave you drowsiness. And I take her to her bus stop. And she tells me, as she's about to take her bus, very seriously, she's like, Ariel, I gotta be serious with you. I really like you. But I have to tell you that I was addicted to hard drugs. And to me, I had no idea what she meant. It was like, marijuana? It's not really that hard of a drug. And she was like, no, harder drugs. And suddenly all came clear to me. The agitatedness, the moving around, the sniffing. Cocaine was just one of them. And again, I was very young. I admittedly at that moment in time, I wasn't that experienced with dating or with other subcultures, so I really didn't know the full weight for it. But at the moment I heard that, she had this like kind of like sad puppy eyes look, like she's like, please understand, please be okay with it. And she's like, are you gonna be okay with it? And I told her honestly. It was like, oh, I gotta think about it. And I told her honestly, and after that, you know, I just told her honestly via text. I was like, sorry, I can't. I can't do this. No hard feelings. don't mean any offense to anyone who might be suffering through addiction like that. Those are very serious things, but that was my worst dating story. And at that moment, I thought to myself, let me be a lot more discerning with who I date. Let me not, and it all came clear to me because that when she was talking about hanging out in Union Square late at night, and when she was talking about hanging out at St. Mark's Place with a bunch of dudes, I realized, oh, she was hanging out with the junkies, to be 100% honest. And yeah, that kind of scared me. Again, that's a very serious topic, and a lot of people in the U.S. unfortunately are suffering from similar ailments. So my heart goes out to them, and I don't mean that story to sound so lighthearted, because there is some seriousness beyond that. I never knew what really happened to that girl, but subsequent dates I was much more discerning, and I've had a few other worse dates, but not to that kind of degree of seriousness. I'm sending you a very big hug, says Elisa. New York City isn't all lights and decoration. Real stuff going on, says Maddie. Yeah, indeed, Maddie. It's a real city. There's a bunch of different lives. What do you think of the pyramid on 57th Street? Oh, I think you're referring to the Frederick Engels building. Bergerac Engels building. I love him. It's a very interesting building. It doesn't seem to me like the apartment I would live in, but it's a beautiful building. I actually made a video about it in my Hidden History series. I have Harry Styles playing right now, so this video will be demonetized. But if you want me to continue, let me know in the comments, despite Harry Styles playing right now. I love this song, but YouTube probably will shut down this video afterwards. But as the French say, c'est la vie. Arun, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. I'm not sure if you're still watching, but thank you so much for the super chat. Hello 4K, nice to see you here. You felt like in the scene of Pulp Fiction. I did. I felt like I was John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Because John Travolta, a great movie, well, kind of great movie. Probably not a lighthearted movie, but John Travolta has dinner with his boss's wife, and he thought, oh, this would be easy, just to keep her company. And her boss's wife, played by Uma Thurman, ends up being very wild. First they go out dancing, they have a $5 milkshake, and then they realize she is really into hard drugs, and shit goes wild. So it was a really, really interesting movie. So yeah, I basically felt like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Ariel, I saw a YouTuber with the Puerto Rican guy similar to you, nerdy, pretty girl. She sings, likes old things. However, she told a story of a ghost that follows her, a bad ghost. I want to connect you too, but that ghost thing scared me. Yeah, Cynthia. I've met people in the past who have recounted stories of ghosts or apparitions following them. While our world is much more mysterious and larger than we really think so, I would say sometimes when someone recounts something very negative, a negative supernatural experience, they're going through something on their own personal life. So that's why I would be very wary whenever I would hear someone going through a very negative experience like that. I would say to myself, watch out with a person like that. They may need more professional help, which is okay. But yeah. Maddie says that if that's your worst date, you're blessed. I think I am. Yeah. I think I am. So good. Ariel, please go somewhere else. I can't. It's raining, and this is a super comfy area, so I'm gonna stick around. I'm glad everyone is enjoying this chat. Hello, William. Which countries have you been on holiday? A whole lot. On Urbanist, I've covered 17 cities. So for the people who see my show, write it down in the comments what cities I've been to. On YouTube, I've shown London in edited videos. I have New York, of course, Boston, Washington, D.C. I have like areas upstate as well. And on Facebook, I also have Helsinki, which I also have a video on YouTube. I have Madrid, Rome, Paris, Naples, Pompeii, San Juan, Puerto Rico, many other places. Yeah, many other places. But personally, before I ever started Urbanist, I went to Athens, I went to Budapest, I went to Prague, I went to Istanbul. I've been to London twice and Paris twice. Mexico City. Can't wait to go back to Mexico City and do videos there. So yeah, I've been to many places. Can you talk about doing what you intended creatively versus listening to criticism? 4K. So everyone, give 4K Wanderer, his name is Colin, a big round of applause because he just crossed 1,000 subscribers on his YouTube. And he's also a walker. He walks through Toronto and always has wonderful insights. So do give him a round of applause and do consider subscribing to him. He's been a moderator here, a very kind of kick-ass moderator along with many others like Judith and Stephanie and B. Griffin. Haven't seen B. Griffin in a while. Hope you're doing well. He's been a kick-ass moderator. So he's always been leaving comments and leaving extra information and my PayPal and everything. So thank you so much, 4K. Do consider giving him a follow. So art that... All right. So to have that conversation of criticism, first you have to know what you're doing. So I put things into two categories with anything, with making videos. So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller. So when it comes to making videos or telling stories, there's either two different types of videos or stories I would tell. Either A, it's done for the art, or B, it's done as a service. So I like delineating the difference between art, which is not emphasis, no focus is on money. I may make money from my art, but the art is not dependent on the money making. The service is about bringing income and about providing a service to someone in exchange for payment, transaction. That is the service. Urbanist, I made a very clear decision 2 years ago that Urbanist is fully a art. For me, personally, it's an art. The majority of my videos, unless if they're directly sponsored by a brand or a company, they are an art. I make videos as I feel like it, the stories that deeply interest me, the stories that I am most compelled by. I film the way I want to film. I run the show as I want to run the show. The premise is history, food, and culture, but it is an art. It might change in the future. Urbanist might grow beyond me, and that might change. But right now, Urbanist is an art. And my videos are an art. My writings on my personal page are also art. But I also provide a service. And that might be the rare sponsorship I might have on Urbanist. That might be a service. But mostly the service is my freelancing. So freelancing is, I might make a video similar to what I do on Urbanist, but for someone else. So today I made a video tour of B&H Photo for a conference called Stream Geeks. Or I may make a vlog for a CEO, which I did the vlogs for the CEO of Museum Hack. Or I may make tourism videos for Maine, which I did as well. So that is what I call service. And the service is, it doesn't matter about me. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter about what my intention is. It doesn't matter, it's not important about me. The service is not about me. The service is about the clients. They are paying for this work, and they can dictate as much detail as they want, exactly what they want. So that is service. And I made that differentiation because one of my first clients I ever worked with, he was very demanding. And I thought to myself, I was making videos for him, and I thought to myself, oh, he's kind of destroying what I wanted to make with these videos. And it clicked for me. It's like, I'm gonna be a bad service provider if I am trying to make a good video with someone on someone's dime. No. So when it comes to a service, I'll take criticism. I'm taking it and I will implement it. If the situation with providing service is more so that they're hiring me also for my expertise or for my opinion, then I will offer my opinion, but they are the final word. So I make videos for a band. The band tells me they don't like this edit, I will change it. They don't like this shot, I will change the shot. If I work for a corporate company and they say, I'd rather have the video show more of this, I'll have the video show more of that. Or if they feel like the video should go a different direction, I will tell them my expert opinion, but ultimately they are the ones who say the final say. So if I give my expert opinion and they say, I do appreciate that, but we still want it this way, I'll give them to it that way. That's my relationship with criticism when it comes to a service. But Urbanist, TikTok, Facebook, my writings, my book, Retrowave, my dance music videos, they're not services, they're art. So what's my relationship with art? If someone criticizes my art, I generally don't read it. Unless if it's consensual. If I ask someone for an opinion about my video on Urbanist, for example, if I say to someone, hey, what do you think about my videos? What can I improve? If I ask them, I'm asking for a good reason because I want some feedback and I want it from that person. Or I sometimes ask feedback from patrons or supporters because I appreciate their opinion. And it's a little bit easier to manage because it's not that many people. So I sometimes might ask opinions from my patrons or I might ask opinions from someone I admire or a colleague. But if someone gives me an opinion without consent, it's understandable. The comments are a free place. You can leave whatever comment you want. You can send me whatever email you want. You can send me whatever direct message you want. Do I have to listen to it? Do I have to read it? No. And I'll be very clear about that. And I say that very bluntly because I see a lot of creators out there get bogged down by criticism. If you get bogged down by every single little random criticism from a random person on the internet, and I understand everyone has their real lives, everyone is a real person behind that screen, but you can't get distracted as an artist from criticism from thousands of people out there. Even if you have a tiny little audience of say 10 people or 100 people, you can't get bogged down by criticism from someone you truly don't know. Sure, they might think they are doing you a favor. So be it. That's their opinion. But for me as an artist, I won't get bogged down by criticism, positive or negative. And usually the the most negative criticism starts by with the preface of like, I really I care about you doing good videos, or I'm writing this because I think I'm writing this because I think you could do better. You know, if they preface it with like, I mean no offense. If they preface it with that, usually there's some harsh criticism to follow. And that's okay. It's important to not take that personally. I don't take it personally anymore. And sometimes it might feel personal, and sometimes it might hit, might sting. But I'm learning as a creator to not take it to heart. And because of that, it is my choice sometimes to not read certain comments. It's my choice to not consider them at all. And I think that's okay. I know everyone out there, the audience, cares about good content. But one of my favorite heroes, Steve Jobs, who is a complicated man in his own personal life, I fully acknowledge that. He ended up saying, if you think the customer is always right, you're never going to make a true innovation. And while Steve Jobs was in a business providing products, part of the initial products were also in art. And it makes a good point. If you think the customer is always right, you're just going to get bogged down and never really make anything of note. And critics, I haven't really made any type of content that will have official professional critics critiquing it yet. So I haven't really made a feature-length Hollywood film that would have professional critics critiquing it. You have to know that if you're putting something on a certain platform, YouTube, cinemas, published book on Amazon or a bookstore, if you're putting something out there, you have to be okay. You have to realize that you're consenting implicitly to criticism. There will be people out there, fans, customer reviews, or professionals criticizing. And that's okay. But it's also your choice as a creator, as an artist, to say either I want to listen to it or I don't want to listen to it. It's fully your choice as well. With no offense, you can do it out of love. I do it out of the love of my artwork. I do it out of the love of telling a story whatever way I want to tell it to. Because if I listened to the critics when I started my videos, the reason I started Urbanist, and thank you 4K for the super chat. So the reason I started Urbanist is because I used to work for a company. I launched their Facebook Live programming. My first video on camera got 43,000 views. My first video. And while I don't want to gloat, I am also a person who's very realistic. If you have the 43,000 people watching a video, something's going right. I had success with this company I was working with. It was my 9-to-5 job, my last one. And I was producing videos. Very good videos. Hit after hit after hit. Some of you watching right now, like Kay, watched those very first videos. And then my manager comes. And I love my manager. I loved all the people I worked with. But she came and asked me to have a meeting. And she said, Ariel, we don't want you on camera anymore. We think it will be best if you focus behind the camera. And to me, that puzzled me. I loved being on camera. It was very visible, and that's why I was getting a lot of views in front of the camera. And even if you watch my first videos, I was respectful with the history. I got things right. Everything was executed well. Sure, I wasn't an expert. I wasn't an Anthony Bourdain off the bat. But even after Bourdain, when he started, was very awkward on camera. I just was very puzzled by this decision because the only other people who could be on camera were the editors, the writers of that company, who were very awkward in front of the camera, and I helped them get a little bit more comfortable. So I took the command. She's my man. That was my manager. I was working under her, so of course I'm providing a service. So I abided by that desire, and I did this live video where one of the editors, very awesome woman who has written a lot about New York City, she ended up doing the full hosting on her own, and I was completely silent behind the camera. And at the end of the video, she asked me, Ariel, why didn't you co-host with me? And I told her, they don't want me to be on camera anymore. And she was like, I want you to be on camera. That following day, that was a Friday I did that video, that following day was my birthday, June 19th. And I was turning 28 years old. And I thought about that all weekend. And on Monday, I was called in I ran the Instagram as well. And I grew their Instagram following pretty well. And I don't mean to disparage the company. I'm just sharing my personal experience. The company is a nice company, and they were very nice people. But of course, even if you work with nice people, you have differences in opinion. So I was running the Instagram. I was called in by my manager, and she ended up saying that a certain photo I posted of a piece of architecture, a house, she ended up saying it was too blue. Not the editing of the photo, because I didn't edit the photo. Just the house was too blue. And at that very moment of time, I told her, I put in my 2 weeks notice. I couldn't handle this type of, I don't know, I just did not agree with their assessment of my skills. And I was providing service, and I did the best service as I could. I did the best job as I could. But if the employer or the client doesn't fully realize what you offer to them, then it's your choice. You have the freedom, as long with whatever the contract is. I had the freedom to say no. I disagree with you. I think my skills are valuable, and I quit. And I did. I quit. And you know what? I thought to myself, I was very afraid. I was very kind of afraid that I was going to, after quitting, I felt great. I felt great after quitting. But the day after, on Tuesday, I felt like, holy shit, did I make a big mistake? And then I had another friend of mine, another coworker of mine, who I also did a video with, and I co-hosted with him, and he was awesome. He was very shy on camera, but me co-hosting with him, he loved it, and he shined on camera. Because that's a skill of mine. I'm good at getting other people who might be camera shy to be good on camera. It's a skill of mine. That's what I prefer. That's what I give as a service to my corporate employees, for example. And my friend told me, he's like, Ariel, you're so brave. I wish I could do that. And I thought, when he told me that, he was like, what? You're happy that I quit? And you wish you could quit as well? Like, I'm the one gonna be without a job. And then I end up realizing, wait a minute, sometimes it's good to follow your heart. It might be very scary. It might lead to tough times, which with me it did for a little bit. But sometimes it's very good to follow your heart, and sometimes it's good to acknowledge the criticism that you're getting, but say, I disagree with you. You're saying I'm bad at camera, or I'm not fit for the camera. I disagree with you. And that takes guts. to disagree with someone who was above you. But you have that choice. And it's important to acknowledge as well, there's a fine line between ego and the call to continue sharing your greatest, deepest gift. There's a very distinct line, and make sure you pay attention to that line, because it might be very blurry at many moments. That line of am I gassing myself up? Am I being very egotistical? Am I thinking, oh, I'm the greatest? Or is my imperative to continue providing to others what I think is my greatest gift and my greatest joy? Because more often than not, what you feel really good at doing is what people really enjoy. Generally, as long as you're not physically harming anyone or emotionally harming anyone. Because, of course, there's always outliers, unfortunately. But beyond the outliers, the grand majority, if you really enjoy what you're doing, you're generally helping people on a much deeper level. It might not always make sense. My friend Mary Jane recently made a video about this, and she made a great point. We all provide something different. So you have the choice to share your greatest gift, whatever that might be. And it might be puzzling. For me, it was very puzzling. Why? I appreciate all the comments. I'll get to them. Thank you so much for commenting and leaving wonderful questions. I'll stay here as long as people want me to stay. I thought to myself, why would I deprive the world in what I really enjoy? And there was a moment in time with Urbanist, and I've shared this story with many other people, that I thought to myself, who cares about walking around the city? Who cares about learning about history? Who am I to teach history? I'm no professor. I'm no Dan Carlin from Hardcore History on podcast. I'm no Anthony Bourdain when it comes to food. I'm not those guys. And I thought to myself, is this really valuable to anyone? Does this help anyone walking around the city talking about the history of food and culture in a lighthearted manner? And after having that thought, thinking about that, I ended up receiving this message from someone who's a very dear viewer, and she ended up saying, Ariel, I saw her photos of her, and I noticed that she was bedridden. She was on a wheelchair. And she ended up sending me a message, a very long one, and saying, Ariel, because of you, I can now travel as I'm healing. And this particular person was paralyzed below the waist due to an accident. And I think they recovered since then, but during that time, they were unable to walk around. And that blew my mind. And then I got another message. I was covering Roosevelt Island. This is many years ago. This is in the very beginning of Urbanist. I was covering Roosevelt Island, and if you see my show enough, I get really giddy when I see like a boat. I love huge ships, especially when I see them in the East River or any type of river. I love ships. So I was walking around Roosevelt Island, and I show a huge barge pass through, and I do this shot where I'm walking on the side, so it's called a lateral shot. So it felt like you were walking there as well. And to me, I follow my giddiness. I get very joyful. My eyes get bright when I see a ship, and I shared it with the world. And I thought it was nothing. I thought, it's a very silly moment. in my show. And then I end up getting a very long message, something huge, really long message. And I appreciate long messages. I might not always be able to respond to all of them, but I do my best to read most of them. And this one, this woman, I think she also still watches, and I hope you don't mind me sharing the story. I won't say your name, of course. She ends up saying that she was sobbing during this video. And when I first read that, the first line, I was like, oh wow, what happened? And she goes to recount that her grandfather was a veteran who lived his final years at the Veterans Hospital, recovering from something. I'm not sure what it was, but he too was wheelchair bound, and he was recovering from something at the Veterans Hospital in Roosevelt Island. And her grandfather, being a veteran, I think he was part of the Navy, really deeply loved ships. So he would roll out, or I think a nurse would bring him out every morning. This was his routine, every morning out to see the ships pass by. And her granddaughter, the woman who was messaging me, said that when she visited him, she too would accompany him on the morning to see the ships pass by. And me showing that to her, that's why she was sobbing, because her grandfather long passed, and she lived hundreds of miles away in some other farther state away. It hasn't been to New York City in years. Her grandfather passed away a long time, and seeing me make a video also getting giddy at the ships, maybe like her grandfather did, she also felt like she was there, and she reminded her of her grandfather. And at that moment, along with many other messages, I've gotten so many other messages from people of all different walks of life, saying those things about these videos. So what may initially seem silly, either to myself when I started, or seem silly to other individuals out there in the world who might look at my videos and think it's not really serious art, I know it has a deep impact on some people, and that's what matters the most. So 4K Wanderer, don't listen to the critics if you don't want to. All right. That was quite a long answer to 4K's question. Let me get to your other questions. And 4K, thank you so much for moderating. All right. What is your daily work routine? I don't have a routine. I'm not a person who, there's a lot of podcasts out there, great question, RR. There's a lot of podcasts out there like Tim Ferriss, who they always ask like, oh, what's your morning routine? What do you do in the morning? I really don't have a routine. I make my coffee, I make my breakfast. If I'm making a video about history, I research history, download images, download videos, make notes, maybe not make notes, and go live. If I'm not researching, part of making a very long video live with hundreds of people, thousands of people tuning in, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of emotional energy. And the way I do it is I'm very talkative, and I like giving answers that are both lighthearted and also could be pretty deep in terms of what I share, what insights I give. And I think that's why people also like tuning in. And to be very effective in that type of art form, long form speaking, it's like a spiritual teacher like Eckhart Tolle. You know, he's up there on the stage for 4 hours, or it's like a drag queen who's hosting a show that's like a 3 hour long show. You know, there's all these different types of different ways of hosting, but they're all similar skill set. They take you have to be calm within yourself. You have to be feeling good within yourself. If I'm not feeling good, or if I'm not feeling calm, or if I'm not feeling expressive, the show suffers. If I'm going through something and it's recurring in my head, the show suffers. So my morning routine sometimes, especially if I'm not doing specifically history, is to not do much. Meditate, yoga, or nothing at all, or just really slow making a brunch or a breakfast, really making it slow, taking my sweet time with it. To the outside eye, it might look lazy. It might look completely ineffective or inefficient. It might look like a waste of time. But for me, I found it so useful to ground myself by either doing nothing or just doing what I want. Just doing what I want. As long as you're not harming anyone, just do what you want. And if you pay attention to your mental health, you will be a good on-screen presence, on-screen personality. You know, there are some great on-screen personalities that had terrible lives behind the scenes, like Anthony Bourdain. May he rest in peace. I admire him deeply, but when I look at someone like Anthony Bourdain, I think to myself, I love your craft. I love what they do, and I admire them, and I really input similar things into my own life. But I think to myself, it's not all about what's on camera. It's also about what's behind it. And if I want to sustain this for decades, and I want to get better at it, I want to become a master, I can't merely focus on the on-camera stuff. I gotta focus on the off-camera stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay. Whew. That was a long chat. I love the music. This video might be completely blocked after it, so you're enjoying it in the moment on hand. Or also, you can also go on Facebook, and sometimes on Facebook the video stays up. Killaho says, so inspirational. Fatima says, oh, thanks. Fluffy says, because that's where you cash in and deserve it. Oh, what are you referring to, No Fluffy? You're a free spirit. You seem very calm. Oh, I'm glad you do. I think so, Robert. I either come off as very calm or very intense to people. I'm a little bit of both. Where am I, Cynthia? I'll let everyone know the location of where I'm at the end. Do what you want as long as you don't harm anyone is something my dad always said, says RR growing up. It's a great motto. Yeah. You have such a positive energy. Do I have a boyfriend? No, I don't have a boyfriend. Nor a girlfriend. I'm single. Ready to mingle. Oh, catching a bus to Glastonbury. Oh no, Fluffy, you saw that episode. The bus to Glastonbury. Yeah, I did episode catching the... Was that on Facebook? Was that on Urbanist? I don't think I made that on Urbanist. I think that video was on my personal Facebook. Also, you follow my personal Facebook live. Oh, cool. This is Fly Like a Bird by Nelly Furtado. Oh, yeah. Yes, calm, soothe, very philosophical, says Robert. Awesome, Robert. Why London? New York City is so much better. Well, I lived in New York City most of my life. I love London. I love I love the people. I love the humor. I'm a big fan. If you have been unable to tell so far, I'm a big fan of dry humor and sarcasm in a good lighthearted way. I'm a fan of wittiness. So when I was in London, I felt like I really connected with Londoners on that level. I love English food. I love the food. I love the history. And London is as diverse as New York in a different way. You see the amount of diversity, but the people coming there are from other countries, which is very interesting. Norman, what's your type for guys? I am straight. So with guys, it would be friends and platonic. And male or female friends I have, they range all around. I have friends who are entrepreneurs. I have friends who are artists. I have friends who are poets. I have friends who are dancers. I have friends who are doctors. So I have friends from all around. I just like people who are honest, have integrity. That to me matters the most. You know, you could literally be anyone. You can have any type of like or lifestyle, but if you have integrity, I love that. It was amazing. No Fluffy says JFK are my main hubs. Is Thomas your friend? No, Thomas is just a fan. Sarah, I want you to listen because you asked this question many times. Thomas is a viewer who stopped me while I was walking around, just making a video. Do you cook? Yes, I do. I love to cook. My sarcasm was lost when I was in Vegas, but the New Yorkers were very quick-witted and a good sense of humor. Yeah. Not every part of the U.S. is as humorous. My best friend loves Hugh Laurie. Oh, I'm so glad. I first saw you with Action Kid. Your personality and charisma was so there. I was glad I found another video of you. So glad, Marie. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Big fan of British humor. Do I watch Benny Hill? Oh no, that's probably very old school. I have not watched Benny Hill yet at all, so that's very old school. Oh, the Facebook stream went down. If anyone can let any people know on Facebook that it's still live on YouTube. Make sure to always carry mace, says Killaho. Killaho, New York is pretty safe. And how's New York City doing? It's quieter than usual. Yeah, you know, the pandemic is getting rougher here in New York City. I was about to take a train and it was way too full with people, so I decided to go and stay in Manhattan until the train gets a little bit quieter, because I did not want to be in a crowded train. So, yeah. Faulty Towers is hilarious. I haven't seen that show yet, but I've heard of it. I love the IT Crowd for British humor. Also, Coupling by Stephen Moffat is very good. If you had to live in another country for a year, where would it be? The UK, says Adrian. That would be the UK. Ever had culture shock when I travel, says asked Tova. Great question. I haven't been to places like too crazy different. So I haven't been to Asia yet. I haven't been to Japan, which I heard is among very hard culture shock countries, like China as well. I haven't been to those places yet, but when I went to Europe, the biggest culture shock was Madrid. It's the biggest culture shock. It was very awkward to eat alone in Madrid. So I was traveling alone. I was solo traveling, and it was very awkward to go to a restaurant alone. Just I don't think the Spaniards are really comfortable with it. Like I don't think Spaniards do that. It's not like Paris or London or Rome. You see people like dining alone, male or female. But it's weird, I think, in Spain. I felt weird when I went to a restaurant alone, and they always give me like the worst seat possible, and not so good service. So that was a little bit of culture shock, and the other culture shock was kind of the kind of more slower pace of Madrid, much more slower than London or Paris or Rome. Very slow, very, very slow. I'm so happy I found your videos. I've been trying to catch up. Thank you. My pleasure, Virgil. I'm so glad you're enjoying them. I heard that the UK people have no interest in foods. Not in London. London, you'll find some amazing food. One of the best food cities I've been to was London. It has that reputation. I'm not entirely sure why. It might have changed in the past 10 years. You have that good Catholic school morals, says Robert. Yeah, maybe. I would recommend the old Irish comedy Father Ted. Is that the one where Graham Norton is one of the characters? Yeah, I'll check out Father Ted. I love Graham Norton. He's amazing. Okay, so I'll stay live for about 20 more minutes. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll scroll back, see if anyone has any other questions. My mental health is okay, staying positive. Yeah, stay positive, Shields. Way past your age in years, says maturity, Robert. Oh, thank you, Robert. Why would someone block your video because of the music, as Irene? Copyright issues. They don't want people to make money off their music. It's understandable. But it kind of sucks because it makes live streaming a little bit difficult. I wish there was a better way to figure it out. Better way. Where can I find the best beef brisket? Asked Susan. I would go to... I love Mighty Quinn's. Mighty Quinn's in Manhattan is very good. Hello, Kurihara. You have a great personality, says Nasima. Oh, I'm glad. Have you ever been to Naples? I've been to Naples. I did an epic 3+ hour video in Naples. Absolutely loved it. Have you found a being rigid artist that you from your practice that you might have lost personal friends? Asked Todd. Todd, you're asking being an artist, has that impacted friends? Yeah, it has. Being an artist has helped me grow a lot as a person, and I've had falling outs with friends, or not falling outs, but kind of like separate paths. You know, we kind of have gone our own different ways, which has happened with a few friends. Yeah, I mean, be prepared. You know, if you really are into your arts, it doesn't mean you're going to sacrifice your social life. There's always a way to make it work. Just like Tim Gunn says, make it work. But be prepared if you're really getting into your arts, you're going to grow as a person. And if you grow as a person, you might realize that some of the friends you have are no longer really the people you want to be surrounded by, which is okay. We all have our different life paths. So yeah, I think that is what happens as an artist. It happens in any way of life, really. I think you have to be okay with knowing that, yeah, you are a human being, and human beings are fluid. They change and shift and become different people and have different tastes and different aspirations. So it's okay to see yourself no longer getting along with certain people. Do what's the best for you, and do what's the best for your friends. If you're lingering in a friendship or a relationship for the mere fact that you just want to linger because of some sense of duty, then you're not doing them any favors. Be with people if you really want to be with them. And if that takes a change in your part or a change in perspective or attitude, then yeah, change that perspective or attitude. I've ended up realizing that I have certain friends where I don't need to have them to be a person where I joke around with, right? There's some friends that are more serious. I don't need to be someone with who's always kind of in a lighthearted mood. It's okay to have that friend who's more serious. It's okay to have that friend who doesn't really like having a deep chat and is very kind of always silly and very kind of very lighthearted. So don't try to force anyone to be anyone. That's my thought about it. But everyone can live their life differently. Fef, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Keep being the change. My pleasure, Fef. I love deep chats though, says Melody. Me too. Me too. I really love deep chats. Queen Wafinka says, cut out the toxic people. Oh yeah. Sarah, have I seen any celebs? A lot of them. Justin Timberlake, Tom Hardy, Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, his name, Julianne Moore, Emeril Lagasse, many others. James Cameron, James Gordon-Levitt also. The background music enhances the way we interpret these answers. They're kind of matching. Thoughts on December 21st? It's the summer equinox. I mean, the winter solstice. So, yeah. It's I'm not sure. It's a winter solstice, darkest day. I'm not so into astrology. I'm not so into astrology. So I really don't know too much about it. I'm not so into it because it's not really my interest. But I do acknowledge that there is some interesting parts to it as well. The quieter you become, the more you're able to hear, says Alex. Yes, indeed. That's why sometimes my morning routine is not doing anything and not talking to anyone, because I gotta be quiet enough so I can really talk something of any type of value. Maybe informational value, or it may be a vibe on camera. So yeah. Any particular artists that you particularly enjoy listening to? Calm Trues is right now one of my top bands. Calm Trues is like Tom Cruise, except the words are inverted. Calm Trues is one of my favorite bands or musicians. I love Vampire Weekend. Foster the People, Supermodel by Foster the People. That album, Supermodel, is one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life. The Temper Trap is amazing, especially their second album with Sweet Disposition. Phoenix, I love Phoenix, and I love Arcade Fire. So I'm a huge fan of indie rock and synthwave music. But I also love classical music. I listen to a lot of classical music, like Ravi Shankar. Oh, well, that's Indian classical. A lot of those things. And mind my spelling, blue moon drinking. Oh yeah. Stillness and being mindful and present. What's your sign, Gemini? Great question, Queen. Kiloho says, I met Ryan Wilson. And I think his name, I got his name book signing. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. The Office, great show. Yeah, my friend Joanna, I've known her for over a decade. We met over a chat on the app. Her family is in Jackson Heights and are very family oriented. El Salvador people are very trustworthy people. Yeah, there's certain cultures where there's a little bit more emphasis on maintaining very strong friendships. So some South American countries or Central American countries are like that, I've noticed. What would you do a video of Wave Hill? I've been tempted. You know, a lot of people have asked me to do that. I'll see if it's open or when it'll open again. Can you visit Midtown Comics? I tried to get official permission from them, but they never reached back. I can do a mini video maybe one day. I can sneak in a small video of it, of Midtown Comics. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. I feel like I've gotten older. I prefer to be more quiet. I'm kind of done with deep talks, and especially this year. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that's why it's good sometimes to be lighthearted. That's why. So I think people take life sometimes too seriously. I do acknowledge that people out there in the world are going through serious things, medical issues, or trying to make a living wage, or being laid off. There are very serious situations happening out there for people. I've gone through, trying to make a living wage during the onset of the pandemic and before. So, that said, there's always opportunity to not be so serious. There's always an opportunity to kind of laugh at the absurdity of life. Even in the worst of scenarios. Sometimes the worst of things that have happened to me have been the times where I've laughed the hardest. Because you end up realizing all this is kind of silly. All this. It's kind of very absurd when you think about it. What is this song? Oh, I don't know. Favorite painters or artists? My favorite painter is Frederick Edwin Church, especially his beautiful landscapes of South America. Frederick Edwin Church is my favorite painter. My second favorite painter is Hokusai. I might be mispronouncing him. I think his name is pronounced Hokusai. The Japanese painter who did The Great Wave off Kamagawa. Absolutely love that painter. So those are my top two. Islay says Absurdism. If you really want to kind of see the absurdity of life, read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, another Brit with British humor. It's a sci-fi movie that's absolutely absurd and hilarious. I bet you'll learn more about life from that book than you'll even learn from, say, any type of self-help book. That book really has some gems about the nature of life and reality and everything else. Check out Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It might not seem that way, but just don't try and make sense of it. Just read the book. Just read the book. Don't make sense of it. Don't try to kind of analyze it. Just take it in. Just take it in. And then I think something will happen within you that you'll end up realizing, oh, wait a minute. Things are pretty funny. Killaho says, I started reading it. I loved it. Oh, so glad. Islay says 42. Islay, that's right. The meaning of life, 42. 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is very good. It is. No, Fluffy. I love Robert Greene. I especially loved his book, The Art of Seduction. It might sound like a very kind of corny title, but he actually goes into the history of seduction. Not in a low-brow way. The book, everything in essence is seduction. Being a good entertainer, telling a good story is the art of seducing. It's the art of getting someone hooked and getting them into your worldview and having them at the edge of their seats and kind of you're pulling the strings very nice and softly in order to get some type of emotional reaction. So storytelling in essence is the art of seduction, and that's why that book is amazing by Robert Greene. The 48 Laws by Robert Greene disturbs me, says Cynthia. Not only you, Cynthia, also the prison system here in the US. That is one of the banned books in the U.S. prison system. I think, I'm not sure if in the women's, but in men's prisons, men cannot read the 48 Laws of Power. Albert Camus. I haven't really read Albert Camus. I haven't been intrigued to read Albert Camus. Mostly because I had my fill of nihilism with Dostoevsky. Once I read Dostoevsky in college, I was kind of, I already had enough of nihilism. Appreciated what he had to say about nihilism. And that's it. that was all for me. But let me know what you like about Albert Camus. Hitchhikers was also a British TV show. Yeah, and also it was made into a feature film. But I think the book really is the funniest. Machiavellian says, oh, that Robert Greene's very Machiavellian. Yeah, Machiavelli, a lot of people don't know his history, but his book, The Prince, was meant as satire. And everyone thought he was being serious. So that is the danger of humor. In this society right now, people are more discerning and more critical of what is humorous and what can be used in humor. And the line is always shifting, of course. But the interesting thing about Machiavelli is it's not quite what's happening now in the world with cancel culture and other movements like Me Too, all very important movements. But Machiavelli showed that you can make satire so believable that people will think you're so serious that you can be punished for it, which he was personally. So that's the interesting thing about humor. You gotta be very careful with it. And there's a lot of responsibility with humor. You gotta let people know that they're in for the joke. I think that's the important thing. If you don't let people know that they're in a joke, that they're experiencing a joke, I think that's why comedy can also take a very negative route. So I hope when I make jokes, they're very obvious, or that's why I tend to explain jokes, because I don't want people to feel left out. I know people are watching from all around the world, and I ultimately want people to feel like they're part of whatever we're laughing at, or whatever we're, making light of. And to make sure that the intention is clear. Simon Garfunkel's playing, yeah. Oh, Mrs. Robinson. Do I read Stephen King? Stephen King scared the heck out of me when I was a little kid, especially the miniseries Langoliers. So no, I haven't seen Stephen King since then. I tried reading Stephen King's Carrie when I was in high school, and that's a terrifying book. So no, I really don't, I'm not so into horror. Would you get a breast implant for $1 million, says Luminor? No, I would not. I think for me, money, money is wonderful. It enables me to make better shows. It enables me to make better videos. It enables me to live a more relaxing life, a more fruitful life. Money is a wonderful thing. But is money everything? No. Is it okay to compromise one's integrity for money? I don't think so. I think if the moment you comprise your integrity, that means your honesty, your deepest gift, your deepest joy for money, then you lose everything. Including that money you end up making, you'll end up realizing you can't buy happiness or anything else with it. I've learned this through learning history. I've talked about the history of hundreds of people here on my show, and I personally have learned the history of many more. and you see one through line. No one truly deeply changes with money. Money either heightens someone negative's aspects, or it just enables someone to do better things. But it never changes a person. It never makes a person happier. Money is there to, you can think of money as the lubricant of our lives. Money just makes it easier for us to do things. Or it could become a huge impediment and such a big worry that that's the only thing we think about, which is a very real issue many people are experiencing now. And things do have to change, but I think that's my relationship with money, at least. And should an artist make money? Yes, I think so. If you see value in it, then the artist should be paid. You know what? Like, for anyone who's a content creator here, where there's a lot of people who are content creators, if you're not making money right now, and I was in that position for quite a while, now it's starting to become a little bit better, but if you're not making money from your art, there's either two things that you can improve on. The art itself, the craft behind the art. For me, it's the video making, the editing, the storytelling. I can improve that. Or the second thing that a lot of people choose to ignore, and I did not realize this in the first years of Urbanist, and that's why I got down many times thinking to myself, why am I so broke if I'm making something which seems like it's good for the world and people enjoy? Why am I constantly broke? I thought it was just the art. I thought I had to better my experience. I thought I had to become a better storyteller. I had to make better videos. And yeah, that is true. But a lot of people ignore the second thing. The second thing is distribution, where people see your stuff or where people experience your thing. And some platforms are better than others. And for me, luckily, YouTube has been much more fruitful for me to maintain myself as an artist than just Facebook. So Facebook and YouTube have proven to be a good formula for me. But every content creator is different. Every artist is different. You know, if you're a painter, maybe selling your paintings on the street corner might not be the best place. It might be better on Instagram. Or maybe it is better on the corner of the street, and maybe it's just a different corner. So if you're struggling as an artist in any type of thing, maybe a social media content or maybe anything traditional, then consider seeing where you can provide your art in a different place that might work better. For example, some similar people who make content like me end up realizing that social media is not what they are best at, or at least where their greatest gift is best served. I've had friends who end up realizing that rather than make vlogs, for them it's better to make a movie or a documentary or work for a company and provide that craft to a company. I've had a few friends go that route, and a few of them have been very successful at it in that realm. Like my friends Nowhere Men, if you've seen their show, they kind of went more of the route of making videos for clients and really rocking at it so well, and making their own documentaries on a much more higher production level. So this has been a wonderful chat. If you have any last remaining questions, I'll do a lightning round. His favorite foreign film, Mad Max. My favorite foreign film is That's a good question. Wow. I don't watch too many foreign films. And I haven't like really, nothing comes to mind right now. I'm sure I really enjoy some foreign films. But my favorite film of all time is Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name is now my official number 1. My number 2 is The Fountain. Favorite borough? Oh, I'm from Queens. Gotta be Queens. Your favorite place to visit? London, so far, my favorite place to visit. New York City, favorite place is Nolita. Amelie, Killahoe. Thank you so much for reminding me of Amelie. Amelie is definitely one of my top favorite films of all time. Especially that scene where she grabs the blind man and gives him like a 1-minute tour of the city street and explains in vivid detail everything she sees on the street. And then at the end, she leaves him and he sees like a light and he feels like elevated. Seeing that scene in Amelie is basically the type of storytelling is the same type of effect I aim to have on live video. That scene is basically what Urbanist is about. Watch Amelie, and if you see that scene, you'll know exactly what Urbanist is about. Hot Fuzz, it's not a foreign language film, but definitely one of my top films of all time. Hot Fuzz, everything by Edgar Wright, or almost everything. All the British movies by Edgar Wright. So Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and At World's End. At World's End and Hot Fuzz, some of the best movies ever made in the existence of humankind. The reason I want to travel all around UK is because, one of the reasons is because of Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright showed me that England has so much cool things about it. Where are you right now? Looks like a dope backdrop. All right, I'm about to tell everyone. All is like Bloodsport. Let me know what's your favorite type of movie, foreign language film, aside from English. What's your favorite foreign language film? Have you seen the film Blow Up? No, I haven't seen Blow Up yet. I'll check it out. I know it's very popular. The original version, I think, is called 400 Blows. I haven't seen neither the original or the American version. Do you ever watch Home Alone? I love Home Alone. I watched it a lot when I was a little kid. I'm very tempted to rewatch Home Alone 2, just so I know all the places where it was featured. Alex says Baby Driver is really good too. Yeah, Baby Driver is a good made film. I just really like Edgar Wright when he's doing British humor. And Baby Driver did not have anything British. I just realized your video ended abruptly on Facebook. It did, Donald. I'm not sure why. Yeah. Best borough to stay when in New York City. Manhattan, you can get some amazing deals in hotels. Some amazing deals in hotels. You'll be surprised. So if you can stay in Manhattan and right by all the landmarks that you want to visit, do it. If you want a little bit more of the kind of local New York experience, which by no means is better or worse, it's just a different experience, then consider staying in Williamsburg in the summertime. Have you ever done a haunted tour? A whole lot of them, Killahoe. Click here on Facebook. There's one for a few weeks ago, back in Halloween. And also another one in Washington, D.C. And you would like to make parasitism, says Brendan. Oh, that's good for you, Brendan. I'm from the UK, says SR. Cool. Anyone famous I would like to meet? I already met James Cameron, but I really want to work for him or with him. I would love to have James Cameron as my mentor. I would love to meet Steven Spielberg. I would love to meet also Darren Aronofsky. I think I see myself being good friends with Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, so those are the celebrities I would love to meet. Let me know who you would like to meet. I watch a guy who does Johnny Strides. Yeah, Johnny Strides, very cool guy. He said a lot of professional advice him to rid FB. I thought a great idea. Facebook, it's a tricky platform, but Facebook did get me started on live video, which is very awesome. What happens when we die, Richard? So, according to Albert Einstein, who most people around the world agree is one of the most influential scientists of modern history, says that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and mass is only converted into energy. So, if we are bags of meat, but somehow we are conscious, I think we are, and we are able to, talk to each other. And when you look into someone's eyes, you end up seeing that there's something there. We're just not mere automatons, robots. At least we hope we're not robots. I think you can instinctively know that you're not a robot, you're not a automaton, you're not a sim. So, that said, if energy cannot be destroyed, what happens after we die? That energy goes somewhere. Are we mere meat bags with a power-up called consciousness, and when we die, we just merely, our consciousness is converted into energy and merely goes into the ether? Maybe that is the case. But who's to say there's nothing more? And who's to say that those thousands upon thousands and millions upon millions of accounts of the afterlife, brief glimpses into near-death experiences that have very similar stories across countries, across millennia, across different mythologies, across different eras of humanity, very similar elements to it, sometimes extremely the same element to it. Who's to say that is all coincidence? Think about that. I hope that, I don't want to answer your question because I could tell you my point of view of it. I think it's more fun to ask questions and ask better questions, because when you ask better questions, you end up getting a better view of life. Virgil asks, am I happy? I feel really happy, yes. I feel really happy. I mean that honestly. When I do a live video, and most of my live videos, when I finish, I feel energetic. I'm bubbling with energy. I feel very good. And at home, I feel very good. And I acknowledge a lot of people have gone through tough times. And I will keep acknowledging that. Because I know sometimes it's very hard when you're not going through a tough time and you hear someone else saying that they're going through a good time. It's very hard. And I've been in that position many times in my life. But I've also learned that's very important to not refrain from sharing when you have a good time, when you are feeling happy. And I felt very happy. I've been very happy. And this year has been very kind to me on a personal level. And I'm very grateful for that. And I feel compelled to share that with all of you. And my heart goes out to you if you've been going through tough times, and I hope things get better. And I hope my happiness, my jovialness is expressed through video in a way that brings you even a small shimmer of feeling a little bit better. Just a small, even if I just get 1%, even if I make you 1% a little bit perkier, then I'm doing my job. Do you regret ending a stream early after the fact of feeling very good? Todd, sometimes, it's very few. I've been a lot better in ending the stream when I feel good. Sometimes I feel like I've done the stream a little bit too long. That feeling is a bit more obvious to me. But generally I'm very good at now ending the stream when it feels right. Of course, something in the back of my head always says that I am taking too much time out of people. I'm being too long-winded. I am making a video that feels overly indulgent. But that's the voice in the back of my head. We all have that little inner critic inside our head. And just like real-life critics out there in the world, you can say no. So I do have that little, always that little feeling of like, maybe I'm making these videos too long, and people are gonna get tired out. But if someone gets tired out, so be it. I get tired out from watching 5-minute vlogs. I love Casey Neistat. I watched him religiously for 3 years. But then I got bored. Not because of Casey. Casey's an awesome dude. Awesome vlogger. Very talented. He continued innovating. It's just, it wasn't resonating with me at the moment. Casey's not in the wrong. I'm not in the wrong. Our lives always change, shift, and if I were to go back 3 years and Casey Neistat were to do a 40-minute vlog, I would be all in. But there always comes a point in your life where you just want to see something else. And maybe one day I'll return to Casey Neistat and binge his videos. Or maybe not. And that's okay. And I've learned the same thing with my videos. That, yeah, they might be crazy long for some people. And some people might get tired out after watching a few of them. Some people might get tired after watching a year of them. Some people might still be super engaged after 4 years. And that's awesome. I know a few of you are watching right now that have been watching religiously for 4 years. But we're all in different places in our lives. And we all have relationships to our entertainment in different ways. But there's something, I tell you, of a creator, of a personality online, entertainment, or a theater, or an actor, or a movie director, or an artist, or a painter. There's something there that even if you kind of get a little bit bored with their stuff, you still, something about their work has lingered with you. Something about their work has stayed with you or has changed your life. Even if you might have forgotten about it, it might have changed your life in a way. And you might look upon that person who has provided you that entertainment with kind eyes many years later. And maybe watch one more episode many years later. And remember, suddenly all those memories come rushing in of that time that entertainer was there for you. And that time in your life when you really needed that entertainment. And that's a beautiful feeling. I felt that with a recent YouTuber I really love, who I also kind of fell out with. I just kind of got a little bit bored. His name is John Campea. He makes about movie news. And I used to watch him religiously. And he was one of the first live streamers as well. I used to watch him religiously back in like 2013, around there, 2012, religiously. I loved this show. And I just fell out of it after like two years of watching his show religiously. I just didn't care too much about movie news anymore. And during the pandemic, he's still making videos on a daily basis, almost on a daily basis. And I started watching him again. And all those memories suddenly rushed back into my mind. And I remembered all those good times of watching his show many years ago. And I got hooked on it again. To the point I'm still watching his show again now for a few months. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful that he's still there making videos. I don't know him. He might feel like a friend. Of course, obviously he's a person online, just like many of you are watching me online. But that's a very special feeling, a feeling like, oh, this creator you don't really know them. No one really knows me, unless if you know me in person. But you know them in that way of entertainment, through the lens of entertainment, through a video, through whatever type of art. You know them through that way, and you do make this special bond with them. And I hope my videos are the same to some people, where, yeah, some people might get bored after a while, and they'll come back many years later, and they'll be like, oh, I watched him right during that time. That's called nostalgia, Fatima. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nostalgia. It's a feeling nostalgia, but in a positive way. In a positive way. Greeting from Libya. That is an emotional feeling. Adrian says a very romanticized view of entertainment. You like it? Yeah. Being romantic. It's a fine line. A lot of people think that being romantic, you end up ignoring the reality of the situation. And it's very easy to get caught up with a creator and seeing an idealized version of that person, that actor, that director, that painter. You might think they're this idealized person, but you only see one version of them. And that is romanticizing the person. But being romantic is not a bad thing. But there's a deeper way of being romantic, and there's a deeper way of romanticizing. And that deeper way of romanticizing is acknowledging, what you're looking at is just one facet of an individual, an artist, a brand, or something. You're only seeing one facet of that person. They can be very different behind the camera. They can be, they can embody very different values from what they show. But I think it's okay to have this very high opinion of someone, knowing that's only one version of them. John Campea, the movie news guy, it's only one version of him. I realize that. But I'm sure as heck gonna love this show on a deep way, and many other people. Same thing. You can apply this to an actor. I've met an actor before in person who I really idealized. I thought this actor was, and I won't mention their name because I don't want to disparage that person, but I saw them as a very idealized version. And then when I met them, they felt different in real life. And in a way where I felt like, I won't get along with this person. Like, not my type of person. And at first I was disappointed. But then after a while I ended up realizing, like, hey, it's okay. That person's still bringing great, great work. But would I be friends with them? Maybe not. Maybe not the specific person. But I've met other people where I meet them in person and I'm like, heck yeah, I would be friends with you. You're awesome. Action Kid is one of them, for example. So, when art touches your soul, indeed. Never meet your heroes, says Arcade Games. Yeah, beware where you meet your heroes. For me, meeting James Cameron was beyond. I got very good vibes from him. And I know he's a very complicated guy in his own right, but I got very good vibes from him. And he gave me one of the best pieces of advice ever. So I'm grateful I met that hero of mine. But of course there are other heroes I've met where it quite didn't live up to it. Same thing, I've met a lot of vloggers. I've gone to these parties in New York City, which have been vlogged about. So you might have seen them if you're a fan of New York City vloggers. I've met a few New York City vloggers who I really enjoy their content, but did not really like them in person. It's not because they're bad people. It's just they bode well with them. And I thought to myself, oh, this changes my perception of their content. But that's okay. That's okay. Let me know the scope of live streaming and earning from this, says Jagamon. You can make a living from video on YouTube with, once you start crossing about 20,000-ish people, you can start making a living. Kind of. It starts becoming a very stable living, I think, once you start crossing to 100,000 followers with this type of content. I'm not there yet. So luckily I have a diverse way of making a living. The thing is, every type of content is different. So in the walking channels, I think generally, once you start going above 100,000 followers, you start really, you're able to sustain yourself fully just from that on YouTube. But of course, there's a bunch of other different types of channels. So it depends. It depends on the country you're from. It depends who's mostly watching your videos. It depends what type of content you're covering. It's a much more complicated subject, and I can't give you a dollar amount. And it depends also on your lifestyle. I've traveled comfortably to London on an extremely tight budget, and I somehow found a way to make it work and be comfortable and experience the finer things of London on a very tight budget. So it also depends on your lifestyle and depends on your savviness. So it's a very complicated subject. I'm not going to talk about dollars because it's not my channel. But there's other YouTubers who go into that who are really cool. Like Graham Stevens. Check out Graham Stevens on YouTube. He goes into detail about how you can make money on YouTube and what the money ends up looking like in a certain subscriber level. London to New York City Air Bridge. He's totally correct. Pretty sure 1 million subs is in your future. Yeah, I mean, you'll know that reaching more than 1 million subs, the production value of this show can really get much higher, which I'm so excited for. All right, sorry to freeze. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I already said this a few times, but the conversation was so good, I did not want to get out. Most people don't think about entertainment as deeply though, so they'll inevitably idealize. Says Adrian, yes, you're right. I'm a very deep thinker, so I don't expect everyone to think the same way. But obviously, if you're watching my show, you're probably thinking a little bit on a deeper level. Are you visiting France? I did last year. Check out my videos on Urbanist Bonus, my second channel. Urbanist Bonus. You can see my second channel. And mine is Amelie. Oh, amazing. And Kiloho, I was taught to never ask people how much they make. Yeah, right. I was taught the same thing. I don't really ask that info. From content creators, only very, very close friends we've gotten to that level of discussing how much we make and what we make from what. Very, very close friends. Like my friend Jennifer O'Brien. We were close on that level, but I really don't do that personally, but to each their own. Okay, everyone, so if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my time over here, and you got something from it, because I cannot probably monetize with all this music, especially since this is all speaking, you can leave a tip or contribution, paypal.me/Ariel Vieira, or you can become a patron, and by becoming a patron, you get the occasional bonus content. Sometimes it's a bonus video, sometimes it's extra behind the scenes, sometimes it's like a vote on where to visit next. And sometimes I ask opinions on certain things about certain videos or certain locations. So if you want to become a patron, you can do that, or you can leave a one-time PayPal. If you enjoyed this, brought some value to you. Of course, if you can't or don't want to, that's okay. Pressing the like button does help a whole lot. And there's a bunch of other cool ways to support, even commenting, and even just being here. You guys just being present here, commenting, chatting is good enough. I just put this for whoever can, whoever is compelled to do so. But know that the people who do feel compelled to do so, I give a huge thanks to you. You're giving the ability for me to continue doing this and providing it for free to people online, so those people who are unable to, give a tip for whatever reason could still watch these videos live and still get a bunch of things from them. So everyone, they give a huge round of thanks to the patrons, the super chatters, the star senders, the PayPalers, and also the supporters on Facebook for giving your support. So I thank you so much for the super chat, Lisa. And thank you so much, 4K, for the super chat as well, $5. Grab a warm cup of coffee, will do. I'll show you. I am at the inside Nomad Hotel, right by the Wilson, here in Nomad, the neighborhood of Nomad. Beautiful hotel, wonderful hotel. A fan of my show actually works for them and has been sharing my videos with her staff, so maybe one day I'll do a collaboration with them. So this is the Wilson, beautiful hotel. They were so kind enough to let me sit down, and their bar opens at 4 p.m. and they have a restaurant as well. So super posh, yeah. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I am at Nomad. It's called the Inside Nomad Hotel on 27th Street and 7th Avenue. Nomad, 7th Avenue, 27th Street. Have a great day, everyone. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Bye-bye.